Thanks for coming today.
Of course.
I really appreciate the interview. So first of all, what inspired Open Windows? Was it just a general fear of technology, or is this event that actually inspired it?
I think everything started with from the request the producers made to me about making a movie in which social media was really a key element on the screen. I just wanted to take things to the edge and make a movie that happened all the time inside the screen of a computer, in front of the screen of a computer. So, yes, initially the inspiration comes from the outside, comes from production company requests, but later, I don't know, the movie grew as a way to question the viewers, as a way to question ourselves when we are on the internet and we are, I don't know, having this moral struggle all the time. When we when we condemn the fact that someone steals photographs from an actress, we condemn that. We are against that because it's a felony. It's something that should take the guy that makes it to jail. We accept it, but on the other hand, we want to see those photographs as soon as possible. So that kind of moral ambiguity is, I don't know, is the fuel of this story.
Yeah, that sense that, you know, the things that we do online, because there's a distance, you know, from our activities, that we're not actually dealing with people face to face. So there's that sort of sense of we'll do things in that space that we wouldn't do in life, and it kind of, the movie deals with that too. That sort of moral ambiguity.
Yeah. You can hide behind the screen essentially.
You can, and you would do things. You know, people do things all the time online that, you know, if they were actually faced with people, they probably wouldn't do those same things, you know, because it'd be improper, or, you know, it'd be offensive, or it'd be illegal. But we have this distance where it's sort of, you know, it allows for activity that we wouldn't normally do. So the movie kind of, you know, it deals with that, and ultimately it's those actions that ultimately set forth the events of the film.
And I think that's the reason all characters are isolated in the movie. Every character has its own window. They don't really interact physically until the very end, when all the rules change somehow.
Being someone that writes online and posts articles online, I understand what you're saying about
totally.
Well, totally, man. That's actually a really good point. Is that, you know, the online world provides a sort of pedestal for which people can say anything that they want, and they're not held accountable for the things that they say. Yeah. And that's a dangerous thing, you know, that we can say really offensive things, and, you know, and not have to be held accountable for the things that we say. So it's a dangerous world.
When I read the comment section,
there should be accountability for that.
I would hope so.
Should be.
I could read you guys things that would.
Oh man, I've read the same heinous shit.
When I read the comment section, YouTube, for, I don't know, any blog,
or ain't it cool, man?
Ain't it cool?
Jesus.
It's like, who is these people? Do I meet these people on the street? Do I?
You probably do.
Know,
that's the thing.
Do I share space with these people?
Well, the thing that shocks me is just how much hatred there is. This vitriol, you know.
Yeah.
It's beyond hatred.
It's just unbelievable. I don't have the capacity to hate that much. There's a lot of hate.
All the racism, all the hate, all the hate towards women. Where did this come from? I don't know. Before the internet, where was all this stuff?
It was hidden.
It was all under the surface.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's move to the character of Jill. I know Sasha's not here, I was going to ask her about Jill, but when you created that character, what did you want to say about being an actress in Hollywood right now and the pressures that they actually face? Because I feel like Jill deals a lot with being put on a pedestal of sexuality in a way. And so what are the challenges of an actress today?
While I was writing the script, there was this stream of hate towards Megan Fox, for example. It was Megan Fox at that time, but it could be any other actress. There's always the name change, but there's always an actress that is hated, and at the same time she's so hot. Everybody seems to have a crush on her.
Yeah.
And it happens at the same time, and it's something that is compatible somehow. So yeah, we hate. I remember that time when everyone hated Megan Fox. And at the same time, everyone wanted to see Megan Fox naked on a movie set.
Miley Cyrus now.
Yeah, now it's Miley Cyrus. And there's this huge stream of hate towards this kind of female celebrities, because it's always about female celebrities. I don't think
male
celebrity
and interest simultaneously.
Yeah. I don't think a male celebrity suffers the same kind of relationship with unknown people. So so it's something that is really makes me question a lot of things. And again about myself, because I have to assume that I'm part of it as a guy that goes to the internet and watches movies. So I don't want to judge stuff from the distance. I want to include myself into this whole mess. So yes, I think she's based in this kind of relationship between normal people and celebrities.
Okay. So then, can you also speak to the challenges of filming? I mean, your movie takes place on a computer screen essentially, for the most part. There's some FaceTiming and whatnot.
No, we actually are there all the time.
Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah, the whole time. So with the open windows, I mean, cinematically, how do you do that? Then basically.
You mean
the filmmaking aspect of it, actually recording it and putting it all together?
Well, he said yesterday, I didn't know this, but it's about 8 hours of footage in a 100-minute film.
Yeah, in a 100-minute film, because there's a lot of simultaneous sources. So yes,
yeah, exactly. Of all the different characters.
Yeah, I mean, each of us were essentially, until the end, we were all shot individually.
Yeah.
So sitting in front of a camera.
I was also going to ask that as well.
Interacting with the camera and nothing else.
So you had nothing on the other side of the webcam. It was
nothing. No, in fact, sometimes I didn't even have a computer to look at. So it was just sort of, I would look at something below the frame of the camera to be paying attention to the various things that are happening on the computer screen.
So how did you attack that as an actor? How do you act at nothing?
Well, I relied heavily on our script supervisor because in some ways, that was the guide. The film was predetermined in an animatic form, so he effectively made the film, the map of the film, if you will, in animatic form, which we had to do, otherwise it would have been a mess to try and compile it and figure out how we were going to do it at the end. So much of it was predetermined. Therefore, the timing, the various things that I'm supposed to be looking at on screen, if there's, a file that's sent to me, where that is on the screen to look, all of that had to be figured out. So I leaned very heavily on our script supervisor, who kept all of that kind of in line and gave me effectively a guide to focus on the various things that I had to focus on at any given time. It was interesting.
Yeah, we had to be really precise. I think that's something that has to be that way always when you should make it a movie. I love to be precise. I love that's the way it should, trying to be really specific about what I want and everything. But in this case, it was much more complicated because, I don't know, sometimes the camera is following the eyes of Elijah. And his eyes are driving us to something that happens outside your window. So sometimes he's using the camera, he's using his eyes into guiding the camera in a global way, not just inside the window, not just inside his window, just in the whole desktop. So yeah, it's kind of it requires a lot of logistic thinking.
The hardest few days were we were almost finished with the film, but we still had the bulk of the middle of the movie, which takes place in the car. So my character jumps in a car and takes off, and there's a whole chase, and then there's ultimately getting outside of Joe Goddard's house and communicating with people to try and save her, all this stuff that happens. That's about 50% of the film is in this car. We did that over 3 days in Austin.
Only 3 days.
3 days by myself in a vehicle. On a stage.
And we were. Do you remember? We were so tired because during the day we had to shoot it, but during the night we had to edit the visual reference.
Oh, that's the other thing.
So he knows how to.
It's the most insane thing because they shot all this footage, which effectively was what the perspective of the car was. So there's a camera on the car, the dashboard, looking exactly. So they shot that footage and then had to cut as we were going along because they shot it just before, so there wasn't enough time for each day's work for me to then have a reference of where I was driving. Because I had to be able, I had to know when to make a left, when to make a right, when to go straight. And that was all predetermined by the shooting, but they had to cut that into the sequences. It was absolutely insane. You weren't getting any sleep. I was barely getting sleep because I had all this stuff to prepare for the next day.
I never been so tired.
It was insane. Those are the most intense 3 days of filming I think I've ever done in my life. Because the amount of responsibility there too. I mean,
you have to get it perfect.
It is true, but it was also truly the most. I mean, it was the action section of the film. But it was also the emotional center of the film because it's where Nick interacts with her and is asking Jill Goddard to strip. So really intense moments.
Yeah.
And
so the main actor of Lord of the Rings is saying that the 3 more complex days of his life as an actor were
being a hobbit.
I can say that with absolute assurance.
Oh my god. But you know what? I'm really angry about one mistake on the screen.
Did we make a mistake?
They made a mistake. No, you didn't make it. The guy who pulled the chroma key behind, comes a point in the movie when you are turning the wheel and the background is not turning, and this is someone else's fault. It is your fault, yeah. You know who you are, and I couldn't change it because making chroma keys are really slow, and I know at that time there was no time, there was no money to repeat the thing again. I hate that thing so much because he made such a big effort into making
accurate.
Yeah, he's so accurate that
I didn't notice, so I guess that's a good thing.
You're
saying that right now.
You can see the movie twice.
I didn't see it either.
You can see the movie twice and I see all the faults and all the mistakes.
Yeah, come to see Open Windows 2 times. First time you enjoy the movie, and then look at our faults.
Okay. So Elijah, you've been a stand-up career. Everyone knows you as a Hobbit, obviously, and that's your most iconic role. But you've been doing fantastic stuff. I love Maniac, Grand Piano. I can't wait for Cooties, and that's cool. Just most recently. So, what sold you on Open Windows? Because this is another role that's completely out there. I'm going to say that. So it's like, what sold you on Open Windows?
Well, the concept initially. I heard about the concept, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
From around Fantastic Fest time, because we've been friends since 2010. We met each other at Fantastic Fest here in Austin. And so it was around 2011, I think, that I heard about the movie for the first time. This idea that he was going to make his next film on a computer screen, which I just thought was incredibly audacious and really kind of exciting. And then it became a real thing. He wrote the script and he contacted me for the film, but I was about to go into production on Grand Piano, so it didn't look like it was going to work out. But I just loved the idea, and I'd wanted to work with Nacho for a long time, I'd loved his prior films, and we'd become friends, so the idea of working together was really exciting. And to work on something that was so completely outside of the realm of anything I'd ever sort of seen before was really intriguing,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a horn.
Last question.
Yeah.
Last question, sure. Let's go with... Alright, so this is a question I kind of like to ask everybody. It's more out there, it's just a fun little question.
Okay.
If you can remake any film, any one of your favorite films, and give it your own kind of personal style, what would it be? Which one?
I don't really believe in remakes, but I think...
Or reimagining, if you will.
You know what? I think, and this is a movie I love, I recently saw They Live again for like the 5th or 6th time.
You're like the 3rd person I've
and I love that film. So this comes from a place of reverence for, Carpenter, reverence for that film, because I think it's extraordinary. But there are certain things about that movie that lock it within a certain time period, and it feels a little bit dated, which is not necessarily the fault of the director. It's really a product of the time that it was made.
Absolutely.
I think you could make that film now, taking its subject matter a little bit more seriously. I don't know. There's also something about it. It was very ahead of its time thematically, and I feel like in some ways it might even have a resonance with us now that it didn't have then. Granted, it came out of the 80s, so there was certainly that sort of thing politically that was around, but I feel like it's even more relevant now. So I don't know. Maybe They Live.
I'd love to remake E.T. With this little change.
What is the change?
I want to change one thing. Once at the end, Elliot, when at the end of the flying sequence.
Does E.T. kill him?
No. I want to change the thing. Once the flying with the bicycles end, Elliot stares at E.T. and he's really angry at him, and he's like, okay, you can make this. You can make bicycles flying. You can put all of us into the sky and do this awesome thing. So you've been doing anything throughout the movie. So you've been like you've been so lazy if you can't do this.
Yeah.
All the things you made through the movie, just like, I don't know, moving little toys and just move your neck in this funny way and like your fingers. But you can do all of this. You can do all this stuff, and you've been just, I don't know, just moving this way through the movie. So when the police came and everything, you could make us, you could throw them through the air and everything. You could make us fly at that moment.
Yeah.
So you've been on the movie just like, I don't know, just like doing anything. So he gets really angry, and that's the end of E.T.
And then
angry E.T.
Angry E.T. Angry Elliot. Yeah, he's really angry at that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's my way of avoid the question, because yeah, I feel uncomfortable with remakes.
Remakes are so tough.
Yeah.
I don't really ultimately believe in them, and they're remaking the Birds.
They're remaking it. That's why I asked the question.
I
Because
feel like
remakes
they're
are happening no matter what.
Well, they are, and I feel like the movies that are being remade are the movies that shouldn't be remade. In some ways, you want to attack the movies that didn't quite get it right, or maybe
or update the material. I think I saw Evil Dead, and I kind of saw that as a good reimagining of what
it was. A reimagining,
exactly.
Yeah. If you can do something different with the material, to where it's not just a sort of if you're not just paying reverence to the original, then it becomes a little bit more interesting. But like, why do they remake Carrie?
That's the same thing with adaptations.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
It's the same thing with adaptations, with comic book adaptations or books adaptations. I think it's okay if you are if the way you change the stuff, the material. If there's some significance in the way things change when you turn something into, I don't know, a movie or something, a different media, I think that can be attractive. But just trying to replicate the same thing in another terms is like, I don't know. I find that really.